At the core of this subject has been making an understanding of the patterns and actions of media users through the practice of ethnographic research. This digital artifact has provided the opportunity to fulfill this through the conduction of autoethnographic research of a media niche. And for my DA, I decided to create a blog site that showcases my work and participation in the street photography niche. The autoethnographic process began with choosing my media niche, and upon thinking about what my hobbies and interests were, photography quickly came to mind. This in itself is very broad, so mapping the field site helped to narrow my focus, and with this I decided to choose street photography, as it is something that I love viewing but have not yet attempted myself. Following on from this, I began research on this media niche by observing how it exists online, and after some research I found that primarily on Facebook, this is found through endless Facebook groups such as the one shown on the screen now, and then going over to Instagram, I found the presence of the niche to be even greater, finding many personal, professional and company accounts, and this was easily found by looking under the hashtag street photography. What I found to be different about the two platforms was that on Facebook, members of the street photography groups would post their own images as well as links to a range of competitions, whereas on Instagram it was either entire accounts dedicated to individuals sharing their own work, whether that be as a hobby or professionally, and then there were accounts dedicated to sharing the work of others. From the data I gathered through observations of the niche, a number of epiphanies formed. Two of the most significant ones are on the screen now, and that's that firstly I had the epiphany that the bigger a caption was on a post, the more interaction it received. It was just that through my observations, I continually noticed that posting a picture with no caption or a very vague one just wasn't as successful as posts where an individual shared a detailed caption alongside their work. And I'm guessing the heightened engagement may have come from the caption giving the viewer a greater understanding of the work, and therefore they have more appreciation for it. Secondly, I found that of the street photographers I looked at, they all shared images of their final product, yet no images or description of their creative process it took to achieve that final image, such as talking about their editing process, the concept behind the image, or their influences for their process. I think the process behind an image, how an image is captured, is an interesting element that is often left out, but is something that I will include in my blog posts, especially being a beginner in the niche. It will help to reveal my learning process. The next critical stage in autoethnographic research is conducting research, as it is important to not only draw on your own observations, but the observations and finding of others. In doing this, I found sources questioning the credibility of street photography today due to it now being both mainstream and highly commercialised. Yet opposing this, there was also sources sharing the stories of passionate street photographers working in the present. For me, this research proved that from source to source, opinions and stories will vary as to how people think street photography exists today, and that for my own investigation and observation, I need just to go in without any tainted views of others, but instead form my own. The epiphanies I had ultimately helped shape the direction of my DA, as it led me to the realization that I wanted to participate in the niche in a different approach than what I'd commonly seen online. I decided I wanted to create a blog site where each post would be its own series of work, accompanied with a description of my creative process. My background research also helped me come to this realization after reading the article that described street photography these days as not being taken seriously and being mainstream. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to participate in the niche, that I did it with meaning, thought, and purpose, which I thought could be best achieved through a blog site, potentially compared to Instagram. Overall, my day consists of 4 blog posts, the first one outlining my process of observing the niche, and then the remaining 3 posts are their own series of work, each focusing on a different subcategory of street photography. I'm happy with how my DA turned out, especially my choice of platform, a blog site, because despite observing the niche on Facebook and Instagram, I'm just glad I decided to take a different approach for my own participation in the niche, as it allowed me to create and maintain a consistent, casual and authentic persona which I had originally intended to, which I feel like I may not have been able to do on a different platform if I was mainly sharing images, one image at a time, and not much text. A negative side to this positive, however, is that it was much harder than I anticipated to gain and engage an audience through a blog site. When observing the niche on both Facebook and Instagram, I found that posts being shared would frequently receive likes and comments. I think my choice of platform for my DA could potentially be the reason for the lack of engagement, as unlike a blog site, unlike Facebook or Instagram, doesn't have the same exposure or sense of community as I witnessed on those platforms.